follow-up so that we can get to as many outlets as possible. And as we're waiting on questions, Coach, if you'd start us off with some opening statements.
Yeah, it's hard to put any rational thought to that one. I mean, literally blood and guts game. I'm bleeding somehow, probably my own doing. But, you know, I don't pay much attention to stuff that's on media. I watch the selection show in my office. All I want to know is who we were playing. But it's hard to kind of silence the noise. And people talked and talked and talked, and they got the game they expected. You got a 1 seed and a proper 2 seed going at it. Friday night with their aces. And that's what you get. That's what you get in our league every Friday night. And certainly that's what you should expect in the postseason. And it's hard to say we gutted it out more than they did because they played really well and they've obviously got a lot of talent. But fortunate enough to sit next to 2 guys next to me that I love being around. And I think the kids love being around each other. So they're dying to do that for many more days.
Coach, thank you. We'll begin with questions one at a time, starting with Mike Wilson, Ben McKee, and Troy Provo-Heron.
Yeah, Drew, I mean, what did you get on that pitch? What was that moment like for you? I mean, I think it's been a minute since you homered, and I think the last one was a walk-off too. So, I mean, how did that all feel for you?
I mean, obviously, it'd be lying if I said it wasn't a good feeling. But, you know, I think that, you know, all that kind of stems from, you know, just kind of having – our teammates all year, we've just kind of, you know, try to have each other's back. And, you know, in a big situation like that, you can let your mind, you know, race to a bunch of different places. But, you know, I just try to kind of let my mind shut off and just react. And I know my teammates got my back, and, you know, I tried to have theirs there.
Yeah, Tony, just what was your perspective on Drew's big hit? And can you also walk us through that 9th inning, starting with Pav's big at bat to take some pitches there and then line a hard ball right at the third baseman?
No, and Liam's at bat, the out in the inning was just as good as any of the at bats. If you're going coach critique, but you know, it's a reason you fight to play at home. I mean, the inning was basically kind of what you would like your guys to do every inning and have that sense of urgency. And you know, that we're not going to go away or we're not going to die type deal, but it's tough to do. You got to play the situation, and you know. In the 9th inning on your field, you know, it makes it a little more comfortable. And all those at-bats were guys just grinding it out, trying to get on base for the guy behind him. And fortunately, the guy who still has his shin guard up, or shin guard on his leg, got the last say there.
Drew, what can you say about this team and just what y'all have been able to accomplish in the bottom of the 9th multiple times this year, whether it be Evan's big home run or just all the walk-offs y'all seem to have in big moments this year? What is it about this team that allows y'all to kind of do that?
That's for you, Drew. Lean in a little bit for us.
Oh, okay. You know, earlier in the year, Coach V talked about, you know, after our first walk-off, you know, he said the first one, you get the first one and then the other ones kind of come too. And, you know, I think it stems from, you know, us just kind of realizing that we're never out of the game. The game's not over until, you know, the 3rd out in the 9th inning or bottom of the 9th. And, you know, we just try to get the next guy up to the plate. You know, we don't quit playing until the game's over. So I think that's kind of where it stems from.
Continue with Trey Wallace, Wes Rucker, and Ryan Shumpert.
Hey, Tony, just you guys getting in that position and fighting back, how did you think you guys handled that last 9th inning at bat, even getting a couple guys on, even with the walk in the pressure situation?
Guys, you could kind of see their presence or feel it even. Certainly a pretty good energy coming off them, of determination, it seemed, but also everyone was kind of moving slow. And I don't mean, obviously, I mean, there were some balls that were well struck. So not slow in an athletic manner, but just under control. And heck, all of us have had moments, me several times in that game, where you're kind of out of control, and it's really tough to be your best and in those situations. And in the 9th inning, if you're down, then we kind of need your best. We don't necessarily need results, but we need your best approach and kind of that focused determination, but also kind of looseness to the guys was something that was evident. So it made you feel good in the dugout. Just the only thing that didn't make you feel great was the score. But again, fortunately, things went the way we wanted.
For both of the players there, is there anything, you know, a game that you can even sort of remotely compare that one to, with the frustration that it just seemed like there was so much frustration there for about 2 hours? and everything was kind of going the wrong way, stranded a couple of leadoff doubles, just a lot of tough stuff. And then the way that it ended, can you remember anything like that in your career?
We'll start with Connor on that one.
The only one that I can even remotely think of is just Max's walk-off against Arkansas. You know, going back and forth and just being against the wall for the longest time. You know, it kind of brings back similar feelings. But even in that game, you know, we knew we were never out. We just had to get the tying run to the plate. And I think, you know, we said that about 100 times when we got in the dugout, was get the tying run to the plate. It was never about, you know, trying to hit a walk-off grand slam, which is awesome for Drew. But it was just about tying the game. And then, you know, once we get there, we can will our way, you know, to another run. It just happened to work out, you know, the way it did. But we knew we had to do it together. And I think that's, you know, kind of the mantra of this team is we're going to do everything together. And, you know, you don't have to beat one of us. You got to beat all 9 of us, including our starting pitcher. And I think that's what makes us so great is we love each other, and you're going to have to beat all of us, not just one of us.
And to kind of piggyback off what Pav said, you know, I think something about this team is pretty special is, you know, when we get punched in the mouth, we always find a way to punch back, you know, no matter the situation. And I mean, the game of baseball, that's just how things are going to go. Sometimes it's not going to go your way, but it's all about how you respond.
Tony, did you feel like after that go-ahead home run in the 7th inning that the team was rattled at all? And just how much energy or spark did the crowd kind of give at the start of the 9th inning when they kind of got to help get things going before Connor's hit?
The crowd was enormous. I mean, it goes back to what we were talking about, or Pav brought up with the Arkansas game. I mean, in the 9th inning, that environment was all that people would talk about: recruits, fans, our players. And certainly you'd like your players to create their own environment when they show up to work every day and make it one that's going to put them in a position of success. But that's tough to duplicate what was going on there in the 9th inning. And it's one of the reasons why, again, I'll just be honest with you, Wright State, I mean, that lineup is as physical as ours and as talented as ours. I haven't seen all their pitchers. Obviously they got some guys with good stuff. So what you got is a real even match game. But fortunately, what we did during the regular season got us home field advantage, and that's what allowed that to come into play. So it certainly was a factor and a big one indeed.
Finish up last 3 for Tennessee. Go to Ben McKee, Troy, Provo Heron, and Mike Wilson.
Yeah, Pav, I'm just curious on your perspective of what that lefty was doing there, those 3 innings before the 9th that kind of kept y'all off balance. And then, Tony, your perspective on Chad Dallas and Sean Hunley maybe giving up a couple of homers tonight and what was going on there.
Yeah, I think that lefty was kind of different from all the other guys that they threw. I think you saw that righty they brought in was mainly an off-speed guy, and that's why his fastball played up a little bit in velo, and that lefty kind of just came at you, you know, for lack of a better word. It was a high spin rate fastball, which, you know, the velo is going to play up a little bit, and it plays better up in the zone, but I think we were waiting for an off-speed pitch to come, and it kind of never came, and he just kept us off balance for the 3 innings, I think, that he was in the game. So, you know, he did a great job, and he's a great arm. So I think he just kept us off balance for a while.
Yeah, and I skipped over a question as well that does relate to Hunley. I mean, I don't think our guys were rattled. I mean, the fans were kind of actually honest, like, hey, stay in it, get up in there in the dugout. And I think you got to play the hand you're dealt. And in that situation, you know, Alders, if I'm remembering right, put a good swing on a slider. And, you know, you just realize now you're down an extra run, but you got to get to work. If anything, from my standpoint, Sean Hunley has got us out of so many jams, and he did so in this game. It's just you kind of let your personal emotions get involved. We asked him to do a ton today, a little out of the norm. And so you just hate for the kid to not have personal success. But I think there was a true sense of quiet confidence in our dugout that, okay, it's a little bit bigger challenge, but it's kind of what we've been dealing with since Connor Pavolony showed up on our campus, as well as our coaching staff. Is a lot of challenges and some quirky things have happened this year, and things I can't explain that people ask me to. But these guys, as Drew alluded to, if the going gets tough, they get tough. And then if they get punched in the mouth while it's tough, then they get even a little bit tougher.
Mike, then Troy.
Yeah, Tony, and I guess players too. That play that Max made, I think in the 5th, getting the hole, knocking that ball down and immediately throwing home. how important was that play? And then Durkay coming home from third, was that just a contact? You guys going on contact with the infield in there?
Yeah. And going back to another skip job by me. I mean, Chad Dallas was fine. He was facing a good team. And, he got a lot of 2-strike counts where it looked like he was trying to strike guys out, and either they did a good job or on occasion he'd do a poor job. But the ball was jumping a little bit tonight. And, to me, Chad does what he always does. He grinds it out, and he put us in a decent position to win. Obviously, he would have liked to done better, and we would have taken more innings. But he put us in a position to win, which is all we can ask. And Fergie's play was the definition of Fergie. The guy's a winner. And it was an incredible kind of momentum saver because of the situation. We brought in Sean to put out a fire, and he did, but the ball kind of had eyes, and Fergie wouldn't have it. The guy's probably taken away more hits than anybody in the country at second base, with all due respect to anybody else. And then I'm skipping over one more. What'd you have?
Durkay coming home with the infield in there. Is that just you guys going on contact?
Yeah, contact play. And I think, Monday morning quarterback, oh, man, it was a bad throw, so hustle in there. Pete, love him to death. He's worn the Vol jersey more than any player in history, but Peter has not worn that jersey because he's fast. So he pulled up to stay in a rundown so we could, get the hitter in scoring position. It all worked out well. It just didn't look right to the fans or anybody else because it was a little bit of an errant throw. Maybe he scores, maybe he doesn't, but he was doing what he was supposed to there.
Tony, I know you'd like more than 20 minutes to celebrate this one, but what do you know about Liberty heading into tomorrow and kind of what the challenge they possess?
We know plenty because of 2 years ago. Coach Jackson's not afraid to play anybody, so they came over late notice. We played a Tuesday game, and then obviously we played them twice in the regional as well. And what you got is an incredibly well-coached team. Up and down the lineup, they're athletic and they have good swings. And then pitching wise, they threw their guy today, and I see why they like playing behind him. Their lefty was pretty incredible to start off. So we'll dive into it a little bit more. Got other people that have out hustled me and worked behind the scenes to have that prepared, but you hit the nail on the head. It's very difficult to talk to your kids in the outfield and say, we're in the middle of a tournament here. This was not a walk-off on a Sunday. It's kind of a chance to replay the Arkansas situation where it was such an emotional win on Saturday with Fergie helping us win game 2. You got to bounce back and play. Again, we're in the middle of a tournament, and controlling your emotions and managing your calories and seeing the thing through is required. But it's a good group. I think the SEC's helped prepare us for situations like getting back after it tomorrow and playing a great team. Like I said, we may be the 1 seed playing at home, but those other 3 teams, I think you all have already said it. Now I'll admit to it too. I mean, you got 3 2 seeds here.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll continue with Wright State momentarily.
Thank you all.